Once upon a time, in a grand kingdom, a young and thoughtful prince was looking for a bride. But he wasn't just looking for any princess. He wanted someone with true moral character, someone genuinely good. So, he issued a royal decree, inviting every young woman who wished to be his princess to gather at his magnificent palace. The very next morning, at 8 o'clock, when the big day arrived, you can imagine the scene. The palace courtyard was absolutely packed with hopeful young women, each one dressed in her finest, most beautiful attire, all dreaming of becoming the queen. The prince greeted the huge crowd and then made a surprising announcement. He would hold a contest, he said, a very special one, to decide who would win his heart and be crowned his queen. He then handed each girl a small flower pot. Inside each pot was a single, tiny seed. He told them all to take the seed home and care for it in their own way. The rules were simple. Return to the palace exactly 1 month later with whatever had grown. All the girls left the palace, whispering and wondering about this strange and unusual challenge. What kind of test was this? Among the crowd was a lovely girl named Maria. She was just as hopeful as the others. She took her pot home, and for the entire month, she cared for her seed with all her heart. She watered it diligently every day, made sure it had enough sunlight, and even sang to it, hoping to encourage it to sprout. But, to her great disappointment, nothing happened. The soil remained empty. Not a single green shoot appeared. As the final day of the month approached, Maria felt her heart sink. She decided she couldn't possibly go back to the palace. How could she show up with an empty pot when everyone else would surely have beautiful, blooming plants? She felt like a total failure. Thankfully, her wise Aunt Diana saw her distress. She sat down with Maria and said, "You must go. You have to," Maria protested, but her aunt insisted. "You did your absolute best," she reminded her. "You put in all the effort you could. You have nothing to be ashamed of. Your honesty and hard work are what matter." So, with a heavy heart, Maria took her aunt's advice. She walked to the palace, carrying her empty pot, feeling terribly embarrassed. As she entered the courtyard, her fears were confirmed. All around her, the other girls were holding up pots overflowing with vibrant, spectacular plants of every shape, size, and color. It was like a magnificent garden. The sight was so overwhelming that Maria felt tears welling up in her eyes. She felt so small and foolish. She turned to leave, wanting to escape the humiliation. But just as she was about to slip away, the prince's minister, who was walking through the courtyard observing everyone, stopped her. He had a kind look on his face. He gently asked her to follow him. Confused and a little scared, Maria did as she was told. He led her right up to the stage where the prince was waiting. Standing before the prince, her heart was pounding. He greeted her warmly, which surprised her even more. Then, he turned to address the entire crowd, his voice ringing out across the courtyard. "1 month ago," he began, "I gave each of you a flower pot. But what you didn't know was that I instructed my minister to give each of you a pot containing a boiled, lifeless seed. It was impossible for anything to grow from them." A gasp went through the crowd. The prince continued, his eyes finding Maria's. "I did this to see what you would do. When nothing grew from your seeds, all of you, except for one, decided to cheat. You replaced your seeds with different ones, all just to win the contest and impress me with a beautiful plant." He paused, letting his words sink in. Then he gestured toward Maria. "Maria is the only one whose honesty was stronger than her desire to win. She is the only one who didn't cheat. She brought back the pot exactly as it was, empty but filled with her integrity." To the absolute shock of all the other girls who had tried to deceive him, the prince declared Maria the winner of his contest and his heart. He asked for her hand in marriage, knowing he had found a bride whose true beauty was her unwavering honesty. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.